To the intro?
Yeah. We had a technical
All right, go ahead.
difficulty. Nobody told us.
It's way different, huh?
Way different.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So we back with another Way Different Live. We had a little bit of technical difficulty up in here, but we back.
We back.
Once again, I'm the one and only. My host to my left.
You know what it is, man. The 360-pound ninja, young Shamar CNS.
Ooh, your boy Mike on the mic. What's poppin', ladies and gentlemen?
This is what's up, y'all. Y'all see we got Mike in here, man. He becoming a regular up in here in the Way Different show. So what we got in news today, fellas? Let's go with it.
Well, the FDA is talking some new stuff today. Some pot products may soon be getting regulated under the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA announced yesterday that it will start discussing regulatory framework for the use of CBD in consumer products, including foods and beverages, next month. CBD is the abbreviation of cannabinoid, the inactive ingredient in cannabis that is believed to offer wide-ranging health benefits. Rather than the THC, which gives you that hallucinogenic kind of high feel.
So we talk about weed now.
Yeah, man, we really getting into some ganja, boy. We getting into the good kush. You know
Okay, yeah, put that accent on it right quick.
Little bit of that sensi. The sensi mean y'all get your, you know, get your irie.
Okay.
So, FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb said the move was part of an effort to build lawful pathways by which appropriate products containing cannabis or cannabis-derived compounds can be marketed, made more predictable and efficient. As it stands now, the FDA guideline, it's illegal to put CBD in food products or market it as a diet supplement. How you guys feeling about it? Y'all mind weed in y'all food and y'all drinks?
I ain't trying to eat no weed in my food, so.
Like, especially if you're trying to get a government job or something, I think y'all should stay away from this weed.
You can sprinkle a little kush on top like basil on your pasta.
Not at all, not at all.
Unless you got some kids that, need Ritalin or something, you need to stay away from that.
I don't know, man. The weed be putting you in a good vibe. It put you in the zone.
Here he go.
Hey, man, I'm off this stuff, bro. I got a good job.
So you gonna put it in your oatmeal too?
Mm-hmm.
I might. If it's legal in Florida, they supposed to be legalizing it here.
You know what I think? Because
they got like 3 spots.
I go to the gym. I think they need to put weed in some of these protein shakes and these pre-workouts. Because some of these dudes at the gym be going too ham.
Like, you saw it might help out.
Yeah, you right, but I ain't on it.
I've been hitting the gym lately, man. My thighs is burning right now. So
out of every body part, he said his thighs burning.
What you been doing in the gym, bro?
I've been jogging.
Let our fans know. You been jogging?
I don't run normally, bro. I'm a 360-pound man. I'm 200 pounds.
Oh, that's why you
overweight,
slouched
bro.
in that chair right now?
Yeah, man. I'm stressed out here, bro.
But what I'm saying, you can't just be like, yo, my legs hurt. I'm sorry. You feel me? I had leg. He said my thighs burning.
Yeah.
My thighs burning.
In more news,
I gotta let them know what's up.
And let me get this out right quick. In more news, shout out to the LGBTQ community, y'all. Lori Lightfoot is the new mayor of Chicago, Illinois, the first black woman mayor. That deserves, for sure, a crowd cheering.
Give it up to Lori, y'all. Shout out to Lori.
Making strides in the LGBTQ community. That's what's up.
No doubt, no doubt.
Lori Lightfoot won a historic runoff against another African-American woman and will replace current Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who was not seeking a third term prior to her win. Lightfoot, a former assistant U.S. attorney, was appointed by Emanuel to head Chicago's newly created Police Accountability Task Force.
Okay.
That's what's up.
So she was she was in charge of the police. Was any cop killings going on, like, killing of children and things like that? I remember like not a few months ago, but like 2 years ago, there was like a whole thing where they shot like this dude 16 times and he was unarmed in the middle of the street.
Yeah,
in Chicago?
Yeah. They still talking about that right now. I think the officer just got sentenced for that, I believe. But they still talking about maybe police is doing some of the killings. I seen some of that recently, that they think that the police are doing some of the killings and putting it on the gangs in Chicago. But I think, a lot of people are out of control right now, regardless of who's doing it. They all out of control right now. And,
we just need love, guys.
So she was in charge of that, though?
Be a whole lot of
it
love.
says that she
Spread
was
love,
in
positivity.
charge of the Police Accountability Task Force.
That's what's up.
So you telling me you in charge of the police being held accountable for this foolishness?
But they're not being accountable.
with a sense,
Hey,
and
listen,
you being the mayor.
Wait, cause now she probably got more pull, bro. Just chill. Let's see what she do.
All right, Lori, I'm gonna give you your time. I'm gonna let you rock.
All right.
I'm watching you though. You on
Probably
the
gonna
clock.
be better than that mayor that was in there.
Yep.
And yes, it's World Autism Month. Shout out to the autism, y'all. You know what?
Yeah.
Shout
We
out
should
to
all
the
do
kids,
our
bro.
part of participating and helping our kids today that has autism. I'm pretty sure all of us are starting to wake up and find that we got, family members that has autism. Some of the athletes today that's got autism is, like Ingles for Utah Jazz, and also Harris for the Utah Jazz. I know he got a brother that has autism. For the Miami Heat, Whiteside has a brother that has autism. And I think one of the first athletes that we were talking about that had somebody a child that had autism was Holly Robinson Pete.
Okay.
If y'all remember that. So
I know. I'm a big supporter. I know last month, Best Buddies, or not just last month, but a few months ago, Best Buddies approached me about doing a song, and we ended up making a great song for them called Carpe Diem, and they had me perform it at the Best Buddy Walk of Friendship last month, and it was a really great turnout. They loved it. Honestly, I loved performing it for those kids, and Best Buddies is a group that deals with they put people who are born with disabilities, they put them into work settings because they're not just kids, they grow up too.
Yeah.
right.
So they put them into work settings, and I got a couple of co-workers and friends that are with the Best Buddies programming. So it was a beautiful thing to be able to perform for them and make a song for them, and they really loved it and enjoyed it. Like,
That's what's up, man.
yeah. So
That's nice seeing you doing your
No
part,
doubt.
bro.
So
supporter.
with no further ado, right now we're gonna ask our Boogie Live team to sit in one of my main men I met here like maybe 10, 11 years ago in Miami. Send in the Protege. Everybody y'all out there, y'all know the Protege. Send the Protege in here. We're gonna talk a little sports real quick.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Baby.
Oh,
the Protege,
with the
Jason
present,
Alexander. The Protege is in the house.
how you doing, sir? I don't
What's up,
think
my
I don't
brother?
think he need a mic. You heard him? He's like,
He don't need a
with
mic.
with the entrance.
That voice clear.
Come on in, whichever mic you want, my brother. Welcome. Yeah.
welcome.
Let's give it up for the
Dope.
Protege. Holla at him, y'all.
Setting dope.
He's in the house.
Salute to the set. The set is powerful.
Oh, you see that wall? You see that
wall
wall?
is crazy.
That wall's crazy.
I just saw
Yo.
the wall.
The new Wade
And
Different
that ain't
wall
the
is
wall.
up, the
Now
backdrop.
that's the wall they need to build. That Trump need to build right there.
The Wade Different wall.
The way different wall.
That's
for
Let's
what's
get
up.
that all along Mexico.
It's not tall enough. It needs to be a little taller, a little thicker.
I'm mad he got the Donald Trump voice on deck.
Hey, let's be honest,
If
man.
y'all just getting a view of the Wade Different wall, we have the new backdrop up. Wade Different is to my right. We got a lot of accolades on there, but big ups to the team for putting together the Wade Different wall.
That wall needs to go up in some communities here in South Florida.
That's what's up. We got to do something, right?
I'm just being honest, man.
So let's get into sports. We got our main man, Jason. Tell us a little bit about your background, Jason. What you doing now, man? Everybody needs to know. I know a lot of people seeing you around town on TV now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, man.
Grew up Queens, New York, Hollis. Mark Jackson, first mentor. Kenny Smith, Vincent Smith, mentor since I was 9. Played with Kenny Anderson in high school at Malloy. 1 year at Oak Hill Academy. We finished number 2 in the country. Scholarship to Rhode Island. Played with Coach Al Skinner. Transferred to Stetson. Graduated in 97. They named me Hall of Fame. I had a nice career there. A couple of first teams, newcomers, all freshmen at Rhode Island. I had a really good amateur career, man, honestly. And when I didn't go pro, it was more like because I saw the whole concept of being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I had some great mentors.
The
hence the
entrepreneur
name.
life pulled you.
It did, because I had to pay. I worked in high school at Xena Jeans, which became Mud Jeans, to pay my tuition at Archbishop Malloy High School. My mother couldn't afford it.
Let me ask you off rip. How did you? Because I'm a former high school athlete, and I didn't have a time for a job at all. Like we had,
Summertime.
oh well, basketball was year round for us.
It was, and I had to work. I had to take the A train from Far Rockaway, Queens, out
Ooh.
to 42nd Street, go to work 9 to 5, and then when I got off, I had to meet Vince at Lost Battalion and get my work in.
So you lived in Far Rockaway?
Well, I grew up in Hollis, and
Okay.
then my mother moved us to Far Rockaway.
I heard about Far Rockaway.
In ninth
bro.
grade.
Some bad. There's some,
was
there's
that?
some,
What was the
there's some
transition
honeys
like?
over there. I'm letting you know off rip.
At Far Rock?
Far Rockaway.
Okay.
She know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I saw Jason play, man. We was down in
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta. First time I ever saw Jason play basketball, you know, I had my team and they had the other team against us, and I let Jason go over to the other team. One of the baddest decisions I ever made, you know what I'm saying, in basketball. Jason killed us.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to see his skills. It was something, man. You should have made it to the pros. Look like my brother, the way you played against us.
Shout out to Beverly Key, who pulled that whole weekend together for us at Morehouse.
It was dope. It was dope.
How powerful was that? The clinic we
was.
did with the NBA dads,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sponsored.
Yeah, with all
gave
the men.
out T-shirts. We had
Yeah.
the press conference. Cam Newton's father,
Yeah.
my boy Ron, brought him through.
Yeah, big time, right?
Yo, man,
Yeah.
Wade is an inspiration, man.
He is.
Because long
Appreciate
before
that, bro.
Junior became who he is, he been the same guy. Chicago, Robin, don't matter. Like, he always give back to his community, man. And it's like, yo, I love you for taking this step in your life, because people need to know what you do, what you mean to people, what you mean in multiple communities around the country. And you have an excellent team behind you, man.
No doubt.
He gonna take it global
down.
soon.
What,
He
I've
gonna
been-
take it global soon.
I've been doing stuff with you, what, maybe 7, 8 years now?
Yeah, like 8
and it's
or
just,
9, right?
yeah,
Actually,
it's just
yeah.
powerful, man. And it's like, to see the growth just in the time that I've been with you it's inspiring, man. You like, it's happening.
Appreciate that,
It's
bro.
way different.
Yeah,
Way
it's
different.
way
It is
way different.
different.
So let's get into some NCAA sports, y'all. Come on, talk about it, man.
Oh,
We got
man.
3 new teams that probably ain't never been to the Final Four before.
My heart
You know what I'm
broken
saying?
right
We
now.
got Auburn, Michigan State. Man, Michigan State been there before. Texas Tech, y'all. What do y'all think about Texas Tech, man? I'm scared of them, y'all.
Culver.
Well, Texas Tech is looking pretty good, putting up I think 75 in the last game. They've been putting up good points, man, and I think they've been holding everybody to about under 60.
Culver.
So
They the number 1 defensive team in college.
Culver.
They defensive efficiency is like at a 84 point.
Culver. That's his name. Culver. He's the guy. Right? You got to have a guy, right?
Yeah, you gotta have that anchor.
Mike, you play ball.
Yes, sir.
D, you play ball.
I love it.
Shamar, you play ball? But you got an eye for it.
We're gonna teach
I
you.
love the game. I love to watch it.
We're gonna teach you how to
If you
play.
if you're going to win
He
something,
a student. He a student of the game.
if you're
Shamari,
going
Shamari.
to win something, you got to have the guy.
Yeah, you gotta have
Right.
that one person. Do, yeah.
You know.
So
That
is there?
leader in the locker
So
room.
who's the guy? Because the whole league was looking at it like, what's his name? Zion was the guy.
Well,
And the
Culver
guy's
is for
gone.
Texas Tech. Culver, that kid has to play big.
In these last 4 teams, who do you think you think he's the guy that's gonna?
Who they play? Texas
I think
Tech.
Texas Tech is going up on
Auburn?
Yeah, Texas Tech.
And Auburn.
Auburn is
Yep.
one of the toughest
No,
teams,
Texas
y'all.
Tech is versus Michigan State. Auburn is versus Virginia on
Okay.
Saturday.
Yeah, Auburn is a tough team. So
They're injured. The injury to the big kid is going to hurt. I think they playing inspirational
Auburn,
ball.
yeah, they playing off of inspiration right now because of that kid.
And
That was their star player.
How far can inspiration take him?
No, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna take you the furthest. Confidence in the reality
Yeah.
of knowing I just beat Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke, back to back
Yeah.
to back. Come on, man. They might be the dog horse.
You got to watch out for Michigan State.
Michigan
Winston,
State, man,
that
they
point
got-
guard Winston ain't no joke, y'all.
Yeah.
Pretty tough kid. So I don't know.
He's strong.
I'm looking. If Texas Tech get past who they playing, Auburn, Michigan State.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be a big one. Everybody need to be in front of the
That's supposed to
TV.
be you think that's supposed to be the championship right there?
Ooh, Texas Tech got the number 1 defense. That point guard at Michigan State, real tough. I like him, Winston. I like him.
He's really tough. He
That's gonna be a big one right there to watch, man. Everybody need to be in front of TV.
Man,
on
it
that
was so
one.
heartbreaking to see Duke and them go down, man. I felt so bad.
You know what? I was against Duke and them. I wanted to see them go down. I mean, North Carolina's gone. You know,
Whoa.
Gonzaga's gone because I like the Gonzaga. I wanted to see Duke fall. I like to see the underdog.
I thought Gonzaga would
know what
have
I'm
made
saying?
it.
Hey, man.
Listen, first of all, I knew Gonzaga. What it was the first team to beat Duke, right? I knew like that was just off of just strength of like their lack of team chemistry at that point. Because the game went down to the wire. It was like a last drive by R.J. Barrett. He had 2 other people open at the time. You feel me?
No, he was open.
Look,
He just missed the shot off the front of the rim.
Here's what
He missed the shot off the front of the rim. He was open.
Here's what I saw in the losses at Duke, the close losses. Here's the theme. They always give the ball to R.J. Barrett down the stretch when everyone who's watching television says it should go to Zion Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, against the recent loss, he got fouled when he went to the bucket. So everybody said, oh, okay, he's finally going to deliver. And then he missed the front end of the free throw, and that was the game. So
well, y'all give me who y'all pick is, because we got a special guest in the house we need to bring in.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get your pick from my left to the right.
I'm gonna go with Michigan State. After beating Duke, I feel like they're gonna have that confidence in their head that I can do it.
I'm going Michigan State. Also, they have the alumni Magic Johnson in their corner, and I felt like he's really giving some good mentorship to the team.
Protege.
I want to see Auburn win it. I like the teams that they've beaten. I like that they're overcoming things. I like their coach, Pearl, who coaches with a healthy energy and has a positive relationship with his players. He's good for college basketball, them being a Cinderella story. And then they have a very famous alumni, Charles Barkley, and my godson, Trey Mason, who was a runner-up to Jameis Winston a couple of years ago in the Heisman. So I'm going with Auburn. That's who I like to see win it.
Well, fellas, I don't know. This is going to be a hard one. Texas Tech keep up that defense. Michigan's point guard Winston comes to play. Auburn, I just love all of them right now, man. It's going to be a new champion this year. That's all I got to say. Somebody that's never won is finally going to win it. So I'm not going to pick it. I'll wait to the next round, which is the last round. But right now, everybody, I want everybody to put their hands together for a special, special guy. We got the father of Dwyane Martin in the house, Mr. Tracy Martin. Give it up, give it up, give it up. My brother, welcome.
What's up, bro? How's everything?
Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, everybody, the man is in the house. The father is in the house. Should I say more? First thing, man, for all of the people out there that's watching, man, our condolences go out to you as a father. You know what I'm saying, and to your family.
Appreciate it.
We share y'all pain and
Respect.
Let's talk about some. Let's talk about some change, though. Tell me about some of the things that you like to see changed in being a father in a family.
I think we got to start with the absentee, man. Just being absent in our kids' life. When we have a tendency of separating from our significant other, whether it be your wife or your girlfriend, we have a tendency of getting ghosts, which sometimes
a lot of us.
Yeah.
And it leads to a bad relationship between the father and the child. And so I'm a product of that environment where my mother and father separated. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and so being the youngest and being with my mother, everything she told me was gold until I got older and started building my own relationship with my father. But by that time, the water had been tainted. So I think it's important, man. It's real crucial to us as men, as fathers, to no matter how bad that relationship is with the mother, is prevalent that we stay engaged in our kids' life and continue that relationship, man.
Yeah, my father wasn't at home when I was growing up, so I know so well about that as well, you know what I'm saying? Real quick, I know your father's been in your life.
Yes.
What about you, Protege?
Ooh, on and off.
On and off.
Not as much as I should have had him. I got to get over that, though.
What about you, Mike?
Same here. Like, Dad didn't live too far, but, it was like a weekend father. Weekends turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into, 6 months. Once a year, twice a year. But he was there. He been to more basketball games than my mom. That's one thing I can, put in his corner. That's about it.
Yeah. So, real quick, y'all, We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to go to the Boogie Live team. Pan to the Boogie Live team.
Special to have people that love you and you can love them.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Microphone check.
Okay, we're back with the Wade Different Live. What are some of the things that all of us would like to see, you know, when it comes to law enforcement apprehending and arresting our black youth? What are some of the things? And Tracy, you first, because I know firsthand you definitely should have something to say that's meaningful to change.
I think, man, that we start with people that don't look like us, don't think like us, don't act like us. I think it starts with the training, because you know, as black people, we talk with our hands. You know, we move our neck, we move our head, and so a lot of times people aren't used to that, and they take it as aggressive actions. And so I think that during training, as you know, someone's going to become law enforcement officials, that should be a part of the training. Learning how to deal with what you feel is hostile or threatening to you when it's really just culture. And so learning our culture is a big part, should be a big part of the educational process to any entity dealing with law enforcement or correctional officers. You know, it's just knowing, you know, you prejudge. We all prejudge, but I think we as African Americans, our young men and women are getting prejudged just by walking down the street. I had an instance where a young lady clutched her purse, and my rebuttal was, you know, I clutch my pockets just to show, you know, hey, you're afraid of me, I'm just as afraid of you, because the likelihood of me getting killed just by walking by you and you feel threatening is 10 times greater than what you know what you fear from me.
It is.
So,
it's scary for both of us. You're right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off of that, I really feel like the problem with law enforcement and policing is that these police officers are getting, you know, stationed and patrolled in neighborhoods that they never been in. That's the problem. Like, how you gonna police and patrol a neighborhood that you never stepped foot in, that you probably have pre-notions that you heard about, like, oh, this neighborhood is bad, look out for these people, but you're not comfortable in that neighborhood. So how can you feel comfortable to police it and ensure the safety of the individual staying there?
You're going to come in on the defense. You're going to be defensive going into that atmosphere.
Yeah, because you've never been there.
Yeah, correct.
One of the things that organizations across America have to adopt is, one is an equity policy, not equality. Equity ensures that people are getting fair resources accordingly. Things like that take the edge off, right?
Yeah.
One of the things, let's be honest, a lot of people are hostile.
Yeah.
I can be professional, cordial, approachable, but beneath that professionalism, that demeanor, is bitterness.
Yeah.
Because of the circumstances, and in the information age, we're more aware of the inequities of society. So I think no matter how well we conduct ourselves in a situation where we engage law enforcement firsthand, we're already fearful. You can never take away the images that they're giving us.
Yeah.
But we're having a harder time camouflaging is just the energy of being aware. You know, it's the unspoken. And so that is so touch and go. We just don't know, because you can say all the right things, but I'm feeling you. And as we look at each other, it's like, hey, you know, what's really happening here? So it's a spiritual thing that we're really engaging in. And so, you know, on the black side, you got Chris Rock or comedians, they'll say things like, oh, we need to educate people on how to handle yourself when you're approached by law enforcement. You know, here's the manual of what to do or what not to do.
And that's what's not fair. Because
it's not fair.
Because I experienced that firsthand just by being pulled over with my Hispanic friends. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had the right to, at least they felt like they had the right to argue with the officer.
Yeah.
Even though we both could be pulled over with the same thing. But if I get pulled over for supposedly not stopping at a stop sign, I'm gonna be like, yes, sir. Like, just
keep
to
it
not,
short.
you know, not to escalate the problem. But my friend was sitting there like, no, I don't know if you're a blind, officer. And I'm just looking at him, still scared, because I'm just like, yo, you got me in the car, like, just chill. But it's just like, that's the social indifference right there, like, that people need to take heed of.
But that goes back to what Protege just said,
Mm-hmm.
as far as having a manual. We shouldn't have to have a manual or a blueprint on how we walk outside our house.
Other than just to respect others, that's it.
Because the same air that we breathe, everybody else breathes.
Yes, sir.
The same liberty for justice that everybody else
It says
wants,
for all.
We want it, you know. And so what makes it so different? I feel as though we've been, no matter what we do, we're in a hostile environment.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Whether and that goes and that comes from the lineage of poverty in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the need and want for our young men to go out and say, I gotta have this, or you know, and that comes with the struggle. But we've been placed in the struggle, you know what I'm saying, for so long that, you know, that we programmed ourselves to say the only way out is to hustle.
Yeah.
And that's far from the truth. You look at everything that's going on in Chicago. What 16-year-old young man is going into a gun store buying an AK? None. Where the guns coming from? The guns being placed in the communities, and we just saying, okay, you know, I'm gonna take that gun. You know, it's okay for me to have an AK-47, and you know, so we have a process. It's a process that we have to eliminate, man, and that's, you know, we got to get together and become. I feel as though as men, as fathers, we got to get back to being the kings that we were ordained to be. God ordained us to be the head, not the tail, and so, you know, once we come from behind the shadows of our women and understand our role as men, as fathers, as providers, you know, we'll start gaining ground on this thing, man.
I think you guys all brought up really good points. When you say the thing about the manual, right? I don't think we ever gonna get a manual. Like, ain't nobody gonna print out a book for us. But it's important because Mike said respect. But respect comes in a lot of different forms, like the way parents give it to their kids. Some kids don't grow up in a house where the respect is instilled with them from a young age. So when they get to another authority figure, they don't display respect. And we got to be honest. The police, when the police pulls you over, the police is in the authority figure. He is in that role. So, for instance, when I say that, some people don't even say yes, ma'am, yes, no, yes, sir to their mother or father or to their teachers or none of that. They got an attitude when they teacher talk to them. So how you think they're going to be when somebody with a gun comes up to them and is questioning them about their whereabouts and where they're going? So respect needs to be, there needs to be a level. We got to find a level. I think there's got to be, you know, in civics class, I think civics is in 7th grade. That's when I learned it, right? In civics, that's the way when you learn about your country and the way that the rules and guidelines of your country kind of work. I think respect, there's got to be a standard level of respect that's taught. We ain't going to get the handbook, but we can put it in the curriculum, right? And then when you talk about how should the police come at us and how they should approach us, I think police need a better job with training to show them assessing a threat. Because when you assess a threat properly, you know what level to take it to. Do I need to go to level 10? Do I need to pull the gun out, get the pepper spray, get the baton? Do I need to just Do I need to stand firmly in front of this person and let them know, hey, you're not going nowhere. You are being detained. You're not being arrested. You're not being convicted. You're being detained. We need to find out what is going on here. Because there's a lot of different things. You got detained, arrest, convicted. You know what I mean? So we gotta, the police have to do a good job of assessing the threat and then articulating the threat to whoever is in the case. If I'm in the handcuffs or you in the handcuffs, they gotta, hey, what's going on? Okay, cool, because I'm gonna be cool if you cool.
I like what Maury said about home respect. Just in his day-to-day dealings, recognizing that younger people don't really address people with the proper respect, sir, ma'am, or just in their go-bys. And that is a watered down, that's like home economics. But that brings us really right back to fatherhood, right? Because I don't have data in front of me of how many people of color live in a household primarily where there's no father figure. So with a lack of respect in the household, it's just not really translating into society properly among our own. So when we talk about our own laundry, D, you know, being involved with our sons, our children, regardless of the living arrangement, regardless of the marital situation, nuclear, extended family, irregardless, fathers have to get involved with their sons over whatever barriers, for nothing else, to settle that young man's spirit so that when he is out and about, he's not really hostile.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at some news out of Chicago where two young ladies, I think 16 and 18 or 16 and 17, was sitting in the car, and somebody rolled up and just sprayed the car the other day. They was in the car talking about graduation that was coming up. I mean, it's so sad, but let's talk a little bit about violence, brutality, the lack of common sense in America, how our children have, that word you use, respect, that's long gone. Nowadays, people think you respect them if you brush up against them.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like they, you know, you should have brushed up against them. You could say, I'm sorry, and they still want to act out. So the lack of common sense in America, whether it be politics or it be our race, you know what I'm saying? It's terrible.
Yeah, and that's the thing where, you know, Tracy was hitting on, where it starts off with the father, but if the father is absent, I feel like we all have a role as far as being brothers.
Yes.
But are we our brothers' keepers? When you say being brothers, are we our brothers' keepers?
We are, because at the end of the day, it's like, I didn't have my father there with me every day, but I had my brother.
And your teammates.
You feel me? And you hold each other accountable. That's the thing. It's like, I got 8 brothers, and out of those 8, I'm only related by blood to 1, because we are friends. We all hold each other up to a standard. And if I see a kid that, you know, my neighbor, you know, I know my neighbor doesn't have a father at home, but I'm an older dude, I'm going to teach him the ropes. I'm going to talk to him. You take people under your wing, because it's not your responsibility, but it technically is. And I feel like we need to see that, because where fathers are absent, we should always like be there for one another as brothers.
And it's funny
Feel
because
you on that.
man, but I'm over a Optimus football program.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to mothers being involved with the kids through football, the ratio is 2 to 1. You know what I'm saying? And you look at football as being an aggressive, physical contact sport. The mother shouldn't be trying to teach the child how to play football once he leaves practice. But that's what we got going on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just my voice alone with those kids at that program, it sets a standard. I try to set a standard for the kids, man. Just say, listen, man, everybody's not going to be a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? But when you take that 2% that becomes professional athletes, or it's time for signing day, the first thing they say, I like to thank God and I like to thank my mother. And it's rare that they say something about the father, because what? Of that absentee
ballot.
And it's funny.
what I'm
It's funny that he say that, because you touched on that last week at Chris Bosh's jersey retirement.
His dad.
He spoke about his dad more than about his mother.
Yeah, he didn't speak about
his mother at all.
That's rare, man.
Yeah, that was very rare.
rare.
That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, that's rare, man, because we have a tendency of just, man, I'm gonna let the mama deal with it, but no, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at as a father, you should feel as though you are the biggest influencer on your child's life.
Because you are.
I don't, no matter who my children are fans of, I can honestly say that I'm the biggest inspiration in my kids' life because I'm hands-on with them.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? I feel bad if my child say that his biggest inspiration or the person who has the most influence or his hero is Obama. Even though he was the most influential man in this country, but guess what? I'm making a bigger impact on your life than
Obama.
President Obama.
That's facts.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
facts.
So, I mean,
it's like I had a conversation. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was 6 years old. Me and my dad was driving for the barbershop. And I don't know, someone told me, like I said, man, Dad, I want to be just like you when I grow up. He was at a stoplight. He looked at me. He said, He said, don't be like me. Be better.
That's what I always told my son.
And I looked at him. I said, all right.
I think it's safe to say Junior did a little bit better, at least on
A
on the hardwood.
Yeah, man. Did y'all see them shoes, man? The gold shoes that we gave him last week? Those was ugly, bro.
You used to do them like Bill Cosby used to do Theo in the backyard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cheating back there, beating them up.
So in light of what happened to Nipsey Hussle over the weekend, guys, we don't want to speculate or anything like that, but man, it takes us to a place where we just all feel uncomfortable wherever we go. You know what I'm saying? We're looking over our shoulders everywhere we go. We don't know who to trust, and it's become a sad state for all of us, man. How do we get back? Like I said, where do we start the conversation? And I think, that, he's a legacy. He left a legacy for all of us to live by.
Our condolences to his family.
For all of us guys, our condolences go out to Lauren London and his family. But for all of us, he left a legacy for us to live by, to continue doing what we do
Pass the baton
in the community. You know what I'm saying? And without us,
I think one of the biggest things that he stands for in my initial evaluation is that his story, his plight is well documented. And that's really what gives people fear, that we can all necessarily not be on a yellow brick road, but then when you find your way, like when a young man of color finds his way.
You saw his evolution.
And the power in seeing that transition is more powerful than Jaden Smith, who's growing up in royalty as Will Smith's son. He's expected to make it, right? He isn't what I would say our ancestors really saw for people of color. He's the anomaly. So here we are, modern times, we're struggling to get that right image, right? And with the culture, everything is for the culture. When you look at the culture's pretty violent. Yeah. Entertainment-wise, media-wise, what they show, what they...
But shouts out, I'm glad you brought up Jaden Smith. Let's give a shout out to him right quick for giving water to Flint. Because
I'm sitting up here with two icons. Icon living.
Okay.
Icon
well, you
living.
guys, we wanna thank Tracy Martin for coming on the show, and my man, the Protege. We couldn't have had this talk without you guys. We definitely need to do more talks. We definitely, as fathers, need to come together and do bigger things.
We already put it together.
It was a real honor.
Pro Pops, MVP, and Tracy Martin Foundation are already going to come together. We're going to be sponsoring his football program with gear that I have from Under Armour. We cut that deal without you, but I don't think you're mad.
That's big. So right now, we're gonna pan over to the Boogie Live team, and we'll be right back with my main man Shamari CNS with Live
from the
dojo. We'll be right back, y'all.
It's another episode of Way Different. This is live from the dojo. We got Z-Man in the building. We got Charlie Bravo in the building. And you know you got me, the 365 Ninja. From the moment Mari enter, what's on me agenda? Find a shorty like she Dory, then I bring her to my center. Rose and margaritas pouring straight up out the blender. Chanel number 5, as it lingers I remember. What's your name, what's your sign? Damn, you know you fine. Baby, all that ass, girl, I gotta make you mine. Daydreaming while I'm driving, how you looking from behind? If you feel the way I'm feeling, why the we wasting time? I deliver, make.
We all have dreams. So, I mean, I know people, they probably think I'm used to it, you know what I'm saying, by now, but it's still a dream being in the NBA. You know, I still play 2K with those guys, so.
Which is why we end up the strongest, though. Let's be clear.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey.
Right, do you like to get? Do you like to get right? Do you like to get it on in the middle of the night? If you feel the way I'm feeling, if we gon' be alright, I say green light at the green light, don't stop, it's all go.
Tryna be the best version of myself. Ain't tripping, I'm deserving all the wealth. Done did it so well, to say the least. I can feel it down deep inside myself. So important, just worrying less, cause nothing worthy of stress. Look inside my dome piece, hella dirty and mess. Cause they don't see what I've been doing as a journey to checks. They maybe touch 100,000 when I'm 30 at best. I remember feeling barely awake and trying to alienate. Had the impression that I made a mistake, but now I'm talking with the people who would scare me with hate about how I'm gonna divvy up a shady estate.
Hey, listen, I get gifts from my dad. I'm happy about that, you know? Yeah? Took me a lot of years to get these gifts. Hey!
Yeah, you know what's up, man. We are back.
Where can they find you at on the internet?
It's live from the dojo. We back right now.
Mike on the mic.
We got Tracy Martin in the building. We got Protege in the building. Dwyane Wade Sr. in the building, and my man Mike on the mic on the building. So let's get you know what? Let's just warm it up a little bit, man. I'm so glad to be here with y'all. So today, should I introduce the topic, or should we just get into the bars and then go into the topic? Let's get into some bars first.
People like to hear you rap, bro.
All right, man. So let's see how we're gonna do this. It's a sad day, man. Shout out to Nipsey, man. Rest up, bro. But we gonna do it for you. What's a cat with no milk? What's a dog with no bone? What is you with no me? You should never leave me alone. Hands on my as I'm sitting in the zone. Say that you a queen, treat my lap like a throne. You can reach me on the ground, never reach me on the phone. If you feeling how I'm feeling, baby girl, let's get it on. Love my mamacita, cause shorty got much culo. Make it wiggle, make it wobble. My name Jason Derulo. The Pokemon catcher, the wood like Sudo Udo. Big Bang Theory that like Kelly Kuko. Pockets on Bruno, boss like Hugo. Money coming in and I need that mucho. Kick it to the left, my nigga, I'm like Sensei. You know what it is, my nigga, it's all MP. Coming with the I'm caught, that's like Kanye. Shoot, I lost it, but anyway, you know they hear me on the radio. They know they see me on the video. But they still don't pay me no attention. You listening to what your girlfriends mention? Alright, man, yo, we here today, man. We here today, man.
Tell him stop playing. Tell him stop playing. Tell him stop playing.
I'm trying to keep it going. Yeah. You know what it is. It's another day live from the dojo where we talk about hip hop and the figures within them. And originally, I had planned to talk about my man Wayne since we had brought him up so much, but I think we're gonna talk about Nip. Before I even get into his bio, I would just want to say we got to do a better job of protecting our leaders.
Yes, sir.
We did not just lose a rapper. We really did lose somebody who meant something to the culture. We lost somebody who was a good example for our sons, a good example for our brothers, somebody who came from gang violence and the struggle, overcame that and said, I'm on a mission, and then was shot down by one of his own. And I think this is a cycle that we see in all facets of our community when we break it back to Martin Luther, when we bring it back to people like Pac, Big, people who are making strides. We have to do a better job of protecting them. If they're gonna show us a good example, we have to do our job and protect them. We have to be around them and hold these people in our hands. because they're doing something for the future.
Yeah.
So once again, I just want to say rest in peace to Nip, bro. So let's get into a little bio, and then we can just discuss how we feeling about it and everything. His name was Aramis Asadegom. I think I'm saying that correctly. Known professionally as Nipsey Hussle. He was an American rapper and songwriter from Los Angeles, California, emerging from the West Coast hip-hop scene in the mid-2000s. Hussle initially became known for his numerous mixtapes, including his Bullets Ain't Got No Name series, The Marathon, and The Marathon Continues,
Fire.
and then after that, Crenshaw. That last one, which was sold for $100 each, which was a very pivotal move in the game. Hove, Jay-Z bought 100 copies of that, making him $10,000 instantly. One of the best entrepreneurial moves in hip-hop in a very, very long time, probably since Jay-Z.
Innovative. He was innovative.
Yeah,
his mixtape for $100, everybody's like, crazy.
And after much delay...
It was customer-based.
Yep.
Whoa.
After all of that, his debut album, Victory Lap, was released in February 2018 to critical acclaim and commercial success, and was nominated for the Best Rap Album at the last Grammy Awards, the 61st Annual Grammy Awards to be exact. Sadly, Hussle was murdered outside of his own store, Marathon Clothing in South Los Angeles, March 31st, 2009, this past Sunday. In recent years, Nipsey had made it his mission to create jobs and educational opportunities in his hometown that will provide a pipeline for others to beat the odds and work towards creating generational wealth. Learning that the rapper was shot outside of one of his own business ventures, it makes us a little bit more heavy. He actually just purchased that strip mall that it was located in Crenshaw, which he hoped to rebuild into a 6-story mixed-use residential and commercial areas. You might notice we got a lot of those here in Miami, in Midtown, where you got the little stores at the bottom and a condo at the top. So that was his plan for that. Nipsey Hussle also created this initiative called Vector 90, a co-working space and STEM program in his own town. Vector 90 was intended to create links between young talent from impoverished neighborhoods and opportunities in Silicon Valley. Hussle also created the space in a partnership with a company called Gross, offering flexible short-term leases, daily passes, monthly memberships, and private offerings. He was definitely a man of the community.
Yeah,
I think that's clear just simply from this bio. And what do you guys think was the cause of this death? Because we can say it's gang violence, but we see a man that was trying to change the narrative. Do you think it was too late for him to change that narrative and it was already written that gang violence was going to take him, or do you guys think it was something else?
I don't think it's ever too late to change the narrative, but I tend not to want to speculate about exactly what happened because, we live in Miami and they live in L.A., and you know how people do. So we just want to make sure that, everybody respect the brother, which we all did, and give him his props, man.
Definitely, man. You can't speculate on what you really don't know. I was fortunate enough to actually dialogue with the brother, man. Very articulate young man, and you just saw he had a great spirit, man. We actually went out to Crenshaw a couple of years ago, and we did a peace march out there in Crenshaw, man. Crenshaw is the hood. And so just being out there and chopping it up with Nip on a different level, total different level, man. It was about peace. It wasn't about the gang banging. We all come from our own environments and we products of our own environment, but his spirit, man, just it resonates with you, man, because you look at a young man that basically had nothing, and where he elevated his game to, man. I think by him, the elevation of his game just really brought about a lot of jealousy in people, man. And so I think that kind of contributed to his death, man, the jealousy and envy, man. And we as black people, man, not black men, not black women, we as black people, we as a culture, we have to stop, just being jealous of each other. Stop, don't hate, congratulate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you see me, we have a saying, man, if you see me with my hand extended, reach your hand out and pull me up. You know what I'm saying? All other cultures do it. you'll see 10 Mexicans living in a 1-bedroom house, and we laugh at it like it's funny. They stacking to save to purchase their own 1 acre apiece.
They working as a unit.
Land. Exactly, and so we got to get to that level, man.
I think one of the things that's crucial with Nipsey is what he represents, right? In terms of like leadership, right? From the history we read, you know, you have the Malcolm X, the Gandhis, there's different types of leadership, right? So a lot of people, the leaders never seem to be wealthy, right? So here we are, modern day times, 90s, 2000s, you know, politics is a lot more watered down because black people in general have a little bit more money. So who's our leader? Is it Colin Powell or is it Oprah Winfrey? Like, is it politics or money, right? And then out of nowhere, hip hop.
I think that's a very good question.
Arises, right? And so now we have Puff and Russell set the tone. And so what Nipsey represents, his narrative is unique because he's what we want. We want it. Like the guy that really probably saw what he wasn't supposed to see, realized like, I don't want to see that. I'm going to change that up. And I'm going to make it, I'm going to spin it on his head, and I'm going to use all of my leverage to point this community in the right way. See, there's more of that. That's what kids can really identify with, especially through the music.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's why he's harmed, because the one thing we easily recognize is people who don't look like us attacking us.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, it's the kind of fodder we don't really want to talk about our own attacking us, you know.
That's the thing with Nipsey. I just felt like he was just dangerous. Like, he was dangerous because of what he stood for. And I was...
Conversion.
Yeah, and I was just like, I told everybody, like, if it hit home, not even that I was a Nipsey Hussle fan, it's just that you knew what he was doing. You knew what he was cooking up. And you also didn't know what he was cooking up.
Yeah.
And everybody's just sitting back waiting. And it's just sad that it happened on his turf, like in his community, in front of something that he built up.
And not even just for him, for
y'all,
for us.
Like, why would you do this to somebody? Like, I think the game, like, out of everybody, you know, like, spreading word and telling people how sad they was, I felt the game's pain when he posted that video of him driving through Crenshaw at 4 o'clock in the morning because he said he couldn't sleep. He's like, yo, y'all really did this to y'all savior. Y'all did this to the person that's on the ground. Like, you know, most people help from afar. You hear about people's efforts, but you saw his.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing it for you.
You know, me being the age I am, and I couldn't sleep either, man. Just thinking about what just happened to that legend, you know, that king. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep either, man. And I was telling my wife, like, she was like, "What are you doing up?" I'm like, "Man, I can't sleep. I just couldn't."
Shout out to Danielle.
And it's just like what you're saying is like that night. That happened Sunday night, right?
Sunday afternoon.
Everybody know, like, at least for my friends, like, my friends one particular friend wanted to go out that night, and in my mind I just wasn't, like, I didn't want to go out that night, right? But then after hearing the Nipsey news, it's just like, I told him, like, I can't let you go by yourself right now.
Man, you asked the question though. You asked the question as sort of like, you know, how can we do this to our own people? And you sitting up with a Malcolm X shirt on, and, you know, we let our guards down. So you go back to Malcolm X, the assassination of Malcolm X, what we do, we let our guards down.
And we around our people, and it's
crazy. We around our people, and guess who, you know, the accuser was who? Our people.
The people that'll do you worse is always the closest people to you.
So it's just the same thing with Nip.
And that's why I came with that, are we our brother's keeper early? Because it shows that we're not.
You see, one of the things with this whole thing, and I know we're not supposed to speculate too much, but I can't help it, because with such a good guy and somebody trying to do so much good, he was trying to do this documentary, the Dr. Sebi documentary. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
That's speculation, though. That you finna say.
Well, it is what it is, man. Because I don't believe that things just happen like this. They not when somebody like this in his own spot, where everybody knows him.
I think in today in time, anything is possible.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, what I'm noticing more after his death is that, and I don't even know how comfortable I feel saying this, but we all don't know, God's plan. I feel like, honestly, unfortunately, I feel like this was in God's plan for people to see, to put it on a global scale. Like, hey, this is what happened. This is what he was doing. Now y'all pick up the baton and run with it.
I just think we all, as community leaders, we all don't know what's God's plan as far as who's next or how we going.
But it makes you cherish everything now.
It makes you cherish, because as hard as I work in the community, it kept me woke.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the things my wife always says when we build like this, like gods do, is, well, everybody has a narrative or a commentary, but what is an actionable plan? Right? Like, what are you really doing in the moment? And as I'm sitting, building on what you're saying, I'm thinking, well, Wade's been doing pro pops forever. And in the back, I asked Trey, you got the foundation. I've been doing Mentoring Value Proteges, Inc. Since 2010. And we already talked about how we're going to empower some of these young men through his football program. And, like, we're all Nipsey Hussle.
And that's the thing.
Definitely.
And it's like, going off what you're saying, it's like every death is more than a death. It's like, without your son passing, it's like, would this have grown to what it is now? And it's like, he didn't die in vain, and neither is Nipsey, and that's the way I see it.
So I think we passed our time, but I think you wanted to find out if we was gonna put him in the vault. So let's put him in the vault if we're gonna put him in there. And
musically, we do this thing called the Doomsday Vault. 1,000 years from now, let's say the world goes bad, and this vault contains the most precious media, books, all the things that humans need to restart the population in the best way possible. Would you put Nipsey Hussle's art, his music, in that vault for the next generation to find?
I will be, just off the strength of hip-hop is more than just rap. Hip-hop is a culture, and he was for the culture. So he needs to be in there.
He got some bangers on there. I think West Coast music is special. It might be the most special music to hip-hop outside of the pure sound, because those West Coast cats, they galvanize each other. It's like they don't even have to like the record, but they support each other. Texas, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia. You can go gold in those states and be local because your owner going to support you.
Yeah.
And, that whole Black Panther movement, what happened out there, that's a big piece of our American black experience. So that's where, things got to really happen out on that West Coast.
So you putting him in the vault?
Yeah, he's in the vault, man, because his mixtape, what he means to hip hop below the surface.
Yeah.
Above the surface is your commercially released LPs. But he's an iceberg.
Yeah.
Like, it's more beneath what you see with Nipsey than what you show.
He threw me off when he said iceberg. I thought he meant like iceberg live from Miami.
Yeah, iceberg, go there. It's like 7 times bigger below the water, iceberg. But that's how Nipsey's underground music is.
I feel as though he definitely goes in the vault, and I look at it, and it may sound strange, but I look at it as for the, you start things on the grassroots level, and so the young people always inspire things, and so to me, Nipsey music, the way it resonated with the young kids, is more like spiritual. It's the gospel. It's the rap gospel when it's really not gospel. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people gravitated to his music because they became spiritually, they felt something spiritual because of his soul. And so you definitely put him in the vault just on the aspect of him being able to reach so many people.
I think that I really didn't know who this guy was before his rise in the community. Basically I never listened to his rap before his rise going for a Grammy. And then, taking notice of him, I think what he done to get to the level that he got to through selling his own, mixtapes and selling them out of the trunk and creating his own label and doing it independently. For that reason, and what he's done in the community, I think he definitely deserves to be put in the vault?
And for me, I'm a little split because for me there's a lot of artists that I put on that same plateau, like a Jeezy. When I listen to The Recession, I feel that in my soul. And Nipsey's there too. I'm just not sure if they're going in the vault. I'm not sure. But to me, that music was, like you said, it was spiritual, man. Because when Nipsey talks about the marathon always continues. It's not a sprint. Yeah. And when you chasing something and it's real to you, it's not about how fast you get there. It's about how you get there and what you're gonna do when you get there. So the message goes in the vault. I don't know if I'm putting the album in there.
Yeah, put his album. Put him in there.
He go in the vault, but I don't know if the album go in there.
I want to thank our guests, Tracy Martin and the Protege, Jason Alexander, for coming on to the Wadedifferent Live tonight. And if it's news around the world or music around the world, then it's probably being talked about and heard right here on the Wadedifferent Live.
Yeah, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Bruh. That's way different.